Alright, this is day 7, and that marks the end of the first week, and the first of many weeks to come. Okay, so this one is called Back from the North, January 21st, 2006. My Canadian book tour went very well, I thought. The bookshops did a great job, and we had good turnouts at all the events, especially those in Toronto and Vancouver. I had the chance to meet 1,000 or so of my readers, and also managed to fit in a few late dinners with some old friends. Stayed at some great hotels as well. The Royal York in Toronto is full of fond memories for me, and the Empress in Victoria is to be one of the grandest places that's ever let me through the doors. All the same, I'm glad to be home. I've spent most of the summer and fall touring and traveling, and it seems as though half my life has been lived in hotels and airports. I hate airports and airport security, as I am reminded every time I travel. I've signed in London, King's Lynn, Norwich, Leeds, Manchester, Birmingham, Nottingham, Colchester, Woking, Basingstoke, Portsmouth, Glasgow, Nashville, Lexington, Cincinnati, Dayton, Ann Arbor, Indianapolis, Madison, New York City, Petaluma, San Francisco, Berkeley, Half Moon Bay, Huntington Beach, San Diego, Seattle, Denver, Albuquerque, Toronto, Calgary, Edmonton, Victoria, and Vancouver. I've also done the National Book Festival in Washington, D.C., and the Lucca Games and Comics Show in Tuscany. All swell places to be sure, and I had a wonderful time meeting my fans and signing their books, cards, and games. But it's past time that I return to Westeros. I am looking forward to signing less and writing more during the rest of 2006. I am still getting emails from readers who could not make it to any of my myriad appearances, but would like an autographed copy of A Feast for Crows. No, I am afraid I do not have any copies of the book for sale myself, and I don't expect that I will for several years. However, the good folks at the signed page tell me that they still have 25 signed copies of Feast remaining, available through their website at http://www.signedpage.com/. Some of the bookstores that hosted my events may also have autographed copies for sale. Try Joseph Beth in Lexington, Kentucky, the Tattered Cover in Denver, the University Bookstore in Seattle, ask for Duane, or Page One Books in Albuquerque. I signed large amounts of stock at all of them. On other fronts, my beloved New York Giants exited the NFL playoffs ignominiously, courtesy of the Carolina Panthers. Probably just as well that I was flying to Toronto during that game. It would have only broken my heart. My beloved New York Jets lost their coach courtesy of the Kansas City Chiefs and hired a kid coach in his stead. And George W. Bush continues to subvert my beloved Constitution, spying on American citizens and supporting torture in Guantanamo. Sigh. And just for a little extra stress, Paris and I are about to begin some major and much-needed renovations of our house in Santa Fe, so our lives are going to be torn up and stored in boxes for most of the next 4 months. Renovations are hell, everyone assures me, but I have an escape. While our roof is being torn off in Santa Fe, I plan to be walking the wall with Jon Snow, or visiting Dany and her dragons in Meereen. Or so I hope. Current mood. Null null. Okay. Damn, I really leaned into the accent in that one. Yeah, so, I mean, as we know, he was going on a Canadian book tour at the beginning of 2006, and it seems like it went well. I wasn't under the impression he had been to Toronto a lot before this, but apparently he has been to Toronto a lot before this. And, he's visited signed a lot of places, in a lot of places. As for A Dance with Dragons, I mean, yeah, he was writing those 13 Jon Snow chapters in A Dance with Dragons and visiting Dany and her dragons in Meereen. Well, not visiting her dragons so much, they were sort of locked up for most of that book, but anyways, yeah, that was a fairly interesting post. You know, I do like this sort of feels like a story almost. I'm like reading a story about his life, and it has, I mean, the continuity of real life because these are his real life experiences. Also, I didn't know that he had already been living with Paris at around this time, but it makes sense. I suppose they'd been together for a while at this point, and they were like simply just not married yet. Anyways, that's all I have to say today. Goodbye.